We all want financial peace, right? It's about more than just paying your bills on time. It's about having the freedom to live life on your terms. That means having options and feeling secure. One of the most important things you can do to achieve financial peace is to build an emergency fund. An emergency fund is money you set aside specifically for unexpected expenses. Think of it like a financial safety net. Without an emergency fund, these unexpected events can quickly derail your finances. But here's the good news. Building an emergency fund is easier than you think. It's about taking small, consistent steps that add up over time. In this video, we're going to break down exactly how to start an emergency fund, even if you're living paycheck to paycheck. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to learn more. Let's face it, life is unpredictable. You could wake up tomorrow with a flat tire, a leaky roof, or worse. Without an emergency fund, these unexpected events can quickly turn into major financial setbacks. Imagine this. Your car breaks down, and you need a $1,500 repair to get back on the road. Without an emergency fund, you might have to put the repair on a high-interest credit card, putting you in debt for months or even years. An emergency fund provides a buffer between you and these unexpected events, allowing you to handle them without derailing your finances. It's not about living in fear of what might go wrong. It's about being prepared and having peace of mind, knowing that you can handle whatever life throws your way. Think of an emergency fund as your financial superhero, always there to save the day when you need it most. With an emergency fund, you can breathe easier knowing that you have a safety net to catch you if you stumble. When you have money set aside for emergencies, you're less likely to rely on credit cards or high-interest loans when unexpected expenses pop up. This means you can avoid accumulating debt and stay on track with your other financial goals. Knowing you have a financial cushion can reduce stress and anxiety, allowing you to focus on what matters most. In the next section, we'll dive into the nitty-gritty of how to actually start building your emergency fund step by step. Imagine your life as a line of dominoes, each one representing a different aspect of your financial well-being. Everything is perfectly balanced, standing upright and stable. Now, imagine an unexpected event. A job loss, a medical emergency, a major car repair comes along and knocks over that first domino. Suddenly, your carefully constructed financial stability starts to crumble. Without an emergency fund to act as a buffer, you might find yourself unable to pay your rent or mortgage on time, leading to late fees or even eviction. It's a slippery slope that can be incredibly difficult to climb out of. When you're facing a financial crisis and don't have an emergency fund to fall back on, it can be tempting to turn to high-interest loans or credit cards for help. But these quick fixes often come with a hefty price tag, potentially trapping you in a cycle of debt that feels impossible to escape. Payday loans, title loans, and even some credit cards charge exorbitant interest rates and fees, quickly turning a small loan into a mountain of debt. These predatory lending practices prey on people who are already struggling financially, making it even harder to get back on their feet. Building an emergency fund acts as a protective barrier, keeping you from falling into these debt traps and giving you the financial freedom to make choices that align with your long-term goals. You don't have to take my word for it. Just ask anyone who has experienced the peace of mind that comes with having an emergency fund. I've heard countless stories from people whose lives were transformed by having a financial safety net in place when they needed it most. There's Sarah, a single mom who was able to cover unexpected medical expenses for her child without going into debt because she had diligently saved 3 months' worth of living expenses in her emergency fund. And then there's John, who lost his job unexpectedly, but was able to navigate the job search process without panicking because he had a 6-month emergency fund to cover his bills while he looked for new employment. These stories are a testament to the power of an emergency fund. It's about taking control of your finances, building a safety net for yourself and your loved ones, and facing the future with confidence. You might be thinking, that's great, but I can barely make ends meet as it is. Building an emergency fund might seem daunting, especially if you're living paycheck to paycheck. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be an all-or-nothing proposition. Even small, consistent contributions can make a big difference over time. Start by setting a realistic savings goal, even if it's just $5 or $10 a week. You might be surprised how quickly those small amounts can add up. Think of it like training for a marathon. You wouldn't expect to go out and run 26.2 miles on your first try. Start small, stay consistent, and celebrate your progress along the way. Starting an emergency fund doesn't require a windfall of cash or winning the lottery. It's all about taking those small, manageable steps that fit your budget. Remember, even a dollar saved is a dollar closer to your goal. Skipping your daily coffee shop latte could save you around $5 a day. Packing your lunch instead of eating out, choosing generic brands at the grocery store, or cutting back on subscription services you don't use much are other great ways to find extra cash without drastically changing your lifestyle. Every dollar you save is a victory, so celebrate those small wins and watch your emergency fund grow. Budgeting doesn't have to be a scary word. Think of it as a financial roadmap, helping you track your income and expenses so you can see where your money is going and identify areas where you can save. There are tons of budgeting apps and methods out there, but the key is to find what works best for you and your lifestyle. One popular method is the 50/30/20 budget. By consciously tracking your spending and allocating funds towards your emergency fund, you'll be amazed at how quickly you can reach your savings goals. Remember, budgeting isn't about depriving yourself, it's about making informed choices with your money so you can achieve your financial dreams. One of the best ways to ensure you're consistently contributing to your emergency fund is to automate the process. Set up a recurring transfer from your checking account to your savings account each month, just like paying a bill. The beauty of automating your savings is that you'll be less likely to miss a contribution or be tempted to spend the money elsewhere. Many banks and credit unions offer automatic savings features, allowing you to set up round-up transfers. This means that every time you make a purchase, the transaction is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the difference is automatically transferred to your savings account. It's a painless and effective way to boost your emergency fund without even thinking about it. So, you're ready to start building your emergency fund. That's fantastic. But you might be wondering, how much do I actually need to save? That's a great question, and the answer isn't one size fits all. It depends on your individual circumstances, like your lifestyle, expenses, and financial obligations. As a general rule of thumb, most financial experts recommend aiming for 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses in your emergency fund. Now, I know that might sound like a lot of money, especially if you're just starting out. But remember, it's a long-term goal, and you don't have to save it all at once. While the 3 to 6 months worth of expenses guideline is a good starting point, it's essential to tailor your emergency fund goals to your specific situation. For example, if you're self-employed or have an inconsistent income, you might want to aim for a larger emergency fund, closer to 6 to 12 months worth of expenses. On the other hand, if you have a stable job with a consistent income and a supportive family network to rely on in case of emergencies, you might feel more comfortable with a smaller emergency fund, closer to 3 months' worth of expenses. The key is to assess your individual risk tolerance and financial obligations to determine the right emergency fund target for you. Life is full of surprises, and your financial needs will likely evolve over time. As your circumstances change, maybe you get married, have children, buy a home, or start a business, it's crucial to revisit and adjust your emergency fund accordingly. For example, if you become a homeowner, you'll want to factor in potential home repair costs into your emergency fund calculations. Similarly, if you're expecting a child, you'll need to account for the added expenses that come with raising a family. Building an emergency fund is a crucial step towards financial security, but it's not the only financial goal you should be working towards. It's important to find a balance between building your emergency fund and pursuing other financial objectives, such as paying down debt, investing for retirement, or saving for a down payment on a home. If you're struggling with high-interest debt, it's generally a good idea to prioritize paying down that debt first, as the interest charges can quickly erode your savings progress. However, it's still essential to have at least a small emergency fund in place, even if it's just $1,000, to avoid going further into debt if an unexpected expense arises. The key is to find a balance that works for your individual circumstances and priorities. Congratulations! You've worked hard and achieved a significant milestone by establishing your emergency fund. But just like a car needs regular maintenance to run smoothly, your emergency fund needs a little TLC to stay in tip-top shape. Life happens, and sometimes we need to dip into our emergency savings. That's okay. That's what it's there for. But the key is to replenish those funds as quickly as possible. Keep those small, consistent habits you built while initially saving for your emergency fund going. Smart strategies for a healthy fund. Let's talk about making your emergency fund grow. Keep it in a high-yield savings or money market account. These accounts offer higher interest rates. Another option is a certificate of deposit or CD. CDs offer higher rates but require locking your money away. Section 3. Celebrate milestones. Recognizing your financial success. Building and maintaining an emergency fund is a journey, not a sprint. Acknowledge your progress and celebrate those hard-earned milestones. Hold on to that feeling and let it motivate you to keep going. Set small, achievable goals and celebrate each milestone. Treat yourself to a small indulgence or enjoy a dinner out with loved ones. Peace of mind. The priceless benefit of an emergency fund. The most significant advantage of an emergency fund is the peace of mind it provides. Imagine facing an unexpected financial challenge without stress. An emergency fund allows you to navigate life's curveballs with confidence. No more sleepless nights over unexpected expenses. Your financial superhero emergency fund to the rescue. The importance of having an emergency fund and practical tips for building one. It's about security and peace of mind. Think of it as your personal superhero, ready to save the day. It's your shield against financial stress. Taking action simple steps for a brighter financial future. Now, I know it can be tempting to put off saving for an emergency fund, especially when there are so many other demands on your money. But trust me, the sooner you start, the better off you'll be. Even small, consistent contributions can make a huge difference over time. Start by setting a realistic savings goal, even if it's just $10 or $20 a week. Look for those little pockets of savings in your budget. Maybe it's packing your lunch a few times a week, skipping that daily latte, or finding a more affordable cell phone plan. Remember, building an emergency fund isn't about depriving yourself. It's about making mindful choices with your money and prioritizing your financial well-being. It's about investing in your future peace of mind and creating a safety net that will protect you and your loved ones when you need it most. Embrace the journey. Financial freedom awaits. Building an emergency fund is a journey, not a race. There will be times when you stumble, when unexpected expenses pop up, or when you're tempted to dip into your savings for something that's not a true emergency. And that's okay. What matters is that you get back on track and keep moving forward. Celebrate your successes along the way, no matter how small they may seem. Each dollar you save is a victory, a step closer to your goal of financial security. Share your progress with friends or family members who are also on their own financial journeys. Support and encouragement can make all the difference. Remember, you are capable of achieving your financial goals, and building an emergency fund is a powerful step in the right direction. Embrace the journey, stay committed to your goals, and watch as your financial confidence soars. Your future self will thank you. A legacy of financial security. Imagine yourself 5, 10, even 20 years from now. You've navigated life's ups and downs, weathered unexpected storms, and emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. And you know what played a crucial role in your journey? That's right, your emergency fund. The decisions you make today have a ripple effect on your future. By building and maintaining an emergency fund, you're not just securing your own financial well-being, you're creating a legacy of financial stability for yourself and your loved ones. So take that first step today. Set a savings goal, automate your contributions, and watch as your emergency fund grows. Your future self will thank you for it. Be sure to subscribe for more.